Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Layoff Black Women Rising. And today I'm so excited to have our guest, Tanya Vaughn-Patterson. If you have been rocking with us, wait, let me clean this camera so that y'all can see everything, so you can see us, so you can see everything that's going on. I've been sick this week, so yeah, no, your girl's a little like all over the place. You see, no eyeliner this morning because the eyes don't want that. The eyes are like, no, we're going to keep running. So if you see my eyes running, just pray for me. But today we are talking to Tanya Vaughn-Patterson, again, part of our Black Women Rising series, which I am so thrilled about. And I'm so excited for everyone who has been watching, who has been participating, commenting, telling me, what you are taking away from the series. And I'm just thrilled. I am thrilled that I get to share this platform and really elevate, really amplify, affirm, and elevate the voices of these women. So listen, y'all, when you watch these, if you know somebody who could support them, right? The whole purpose is to really make sure that their voices are amplified much larger than just being able to post on LinkedIn or on Facebook or wherever it is. So if you know someone who you could refer them to, or if they're an entrepreneur and their business sounds like a business that you want to do business with, make sure that you reach out to them and then share this episode. Share it with at least 3 people. Share it to your network, because even though it is Beyond the Layoff Black Women Rising, it's not just for Black women. The things that you're going to hear are not just for Black women. There have been so many amazing takeaways from the episodes so far. And if you go to my newsletter on Substack at sosnewsletter.com, you'll see that I have been doing recaps and sharing what the key takeaways are from each of the episodes. So even if you don't have time to watch the whole thing, go over to my Substack, subscribe, and you will get all of the takeaways, all of the real good nuggets from each of these episodes. So again, share with everyone. Thank you for supporting. I'll keep doing this as long as there are women who want to be on this platform. If you are someone who has been affected by these layoffs, they said, over 300,000 women since the beginning of the year, Black women have been displaced from the workforce. If you're one of those 300 and something thousand women and you want to share your story, you want to amplify your voice, and put yourself out there, so because you have to get visible, right? You're you're competing against a lot of people. So if you want to get visible, reach out to me so that you can be on here. Thanks to everybody who joins us live every week, people who comment. Again, I am going to bring on our guest, Tanya Vaughn-Patterson. Hey, Tanya.
Hi, Kelly. Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm excited that you're on here today. And I would love you to introduce yourself, and then we're just going to jump on in.
All right. So, hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Vaughn-Patterson. I am currently an HR generalist with an organization, and I am I guess, the epitome of resilience and just reaching out to your village and all of that. So, I'm so happy to be with you here today.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, so some of you might be saying, well, she said she's a generalist. I thought this was people who had been laid off. Yes, just because they were laid off doesn't mean that they haven't gotten another job. And I'm so excited that Tanya has done that. But the story of the layoff and how she then landed back on her feet and where we're going next and where she's going next, I think is still very valuable. So, Tanya, you said now you're an HR generalist. What were you before you took on this new role?
I was a senior manager in talent management. So I dealt with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and just helping employees, colleagues grow and retain them at the organization.
So, how did you become one of the 300,000 plus?
Well, as we well know, DE&I became a focus of a lot of people last year, at the end of last year. And so my organization decided that they wanted to downsize and eliminate my role. So my role was eliminated towards the end of, in November. And I found myself unemployed.
How did they tell you? Was it some did you get a note? Did you know some people were surprised? Did you I know we could see on the news, right, in the government sector that this was happening, but how did you personally find out?
So I was actually, and it's funny because I worked in HR. So normally we're the ones getting on the call with the employees and giving the news. And so you pretty much know it was a surprise, but you pretty much know there was a meeting scheduled, a virtual meeting scheduled, and then you hop on the call and you see one of your HR colleagues on the call, you know what it is, right? And so it's still, even working in HR, it is a place you never thought you would be. It was scary. I went through so many emotions at that time on that call. I remember that call like it was yesterday.
So talk to us about the emotions because I think that's important. Hey, Angela, thank you. It's so important for people to know that you can feel the feels. You don't have to
Mhm.
be, you don't have to be strong. They like to give Black women the strong woman trope, right? We don't need to be strong in those moments. So talk to us about those feelings.
Yeah, so I guess the first one on the call was hurt, right? And you don't want, I know I didn't want people to see me cry, right?
Yeah.
And so I found I was crying, on the call, and so it was hurt. And then when the call was over, it was anger. Like, how
Mm.
could this happen to me? I was angry at the organization, and I was angry at myself for not seeing it coming and not having a plan B. And I heard in one of your other calls, it's so important to always have a plan B. And I didn't. And my resume was kind of up to date, but not really, because I was enjoying what I was doing and I thought I was making a difference. So when that happens, you go through the gamut of emotions. Like I said, the anger, the fear, right? Now what am I going to do? What do I do next? I was like, almost like I was frozen. It was a place I was frozen in time, and I didn't know what to do at that moment. So I had to take some time to just get in touch with all of these things that were going through my head and figure out my next steps.
Yeah. And that's so important for people to understand is that it's almost like grief, right? The journey, right? And so
Mhm.
you go through all of the different emotions trying to figure out what is next. And for so many of us who are in corporate spaces and we're doing our job, the sector that you're in, you're doing your job and you're enjoying it. And what you're not thinking about is, oh, I need to be polishing up this resume behind the
Mhm.
scenes. But we always have to be doing that, right?
Yes.
We always have to be in preparation mode.
Exactly. And using your network. Because I in the past I would network, but I didn't network with a purpose. So I would meet people and it was so nice to meet you and all of that, but now I had to network with a purpose. Who is it that I needed to meet? Who is it that I needed to connect with? And then when I connected with them, what was my story? What was I going to share with them? What was I going to tell me to get them to see me? And especially being in HR, you so used to looking out for others, taking care of others. It was really difficult, one, to promote myself and then to reach out for others. And I want to admit, one more emotion that I had was shame, right?
Mm,
And that was real. Like shame on me, shame that I don't have a job, shame I got let go. So that was a huge one for me.
yeah. And I haven't heard anybody say that yet. And that one, um, what was it that you felt that brought on that emotion of like this is shameful as opposed to
Like
just feeling bad about it?
like what should I have done something differently? Um, should I have been more proactive in my role? with the people that I had visibility with. Um, that it was a lot of that. And then shame on me for not seeing this coming.
Yeah.
Right. That was another one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think especially being in HR, right? And you think that you're
Mm-hmm.
in the know, so you should have, but we can't live in that, right? And I hope that you know
Right.
that there is no shame, that there it wasn't your fault. It is what it is. And we have to move through those. But again, we get to feel all the feels and we have to be honest about what those feelings are so that we can move forward. And so, Tanya, you said at the beginning that you are in a new role. So I want to give people hope. And so, tell us what you did. I know you talked just a little bit now about networking and networking with a purpose. What else did you do, and what was the time frame between when you lost your position and then getting your new position?
So yeah, I mean, I was really blessed at getting this new position. But what I did immediately, I was laid off on a Friday, so I took and I had a planned vacation. So I took the weekend to just sulk in my misery, what you want to call it. And then Monday, my husband and I went on a vacation. And we were on a vacation, we were on a cruise, and I remember I went to get a spa treatment and I bought some of my favorite scrub and I came back to the room and he says, "Oh, I know you aren't buying things and you're unemployed." And I said, "Oh no. I have to I have to get a job." So I spent the rest of my vacation just looking at what was out there. I knew at that time DEI was not popular. So I realized I needed to reinvent myself. And I had to go back to my roots or go back to my basics on, where I started. And then looking at like the jobs that were being posted, and it was HR generalists, HR business partners. I saw them everywhere. And so I said, I did that. I can do that. So repurposed my resume. And like I said, I was so blessed. I happened to look at places that I used to work at,
Mhm.
that I enjoyed working at. And one of those places was where I am now. And I applied. But not only did I apply, then I reached out to someone that I knew in HR and said, "Hey, I just applied for this role. I really want this role. And I know I can do the job." And they gave me a chance. They gave me a
That's
chance.
awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
is that a lot, because I know you said you were a senior, your title had senior in it before. Was this a lateral move? Is this a step down? Talk about the shift.
Yeah, so it's a couple steps down. So
Okay.
I really I had to do some reconciling with my finances, my budget, get rid of a lot of subscriptions, all of that. And I had to figure out, why, first of all, did I really want this role, why I needed it, and then what I needed to do to be successful in it and in my life, right? So, like I said, I canceled a bunch of subscriptions, my gym membership that I hadn't gone to in over a year, all of that because I was living at a certain level and now I
Mhm.
no longer had that level. And so it was a lot of I'm doing my own nails. Oh gosh, doing my own nails, that type of thing. So someone told me, you should never skimp on that. But I had to, I had to take a, introspective look and see, where I was spending and all of that. So it was a lot of shifting.
Yeah. And we have to do what we have to do. And I know some people are like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take a step back. But you said, listen, I had to look at my life. I had to look at my family. I have to look at what I want to do. Even if you can't do your nails every week, maybe you could do it once a month, but you could still
Mm-hmm.
do things. And I think for women, I know this for me, the idea of being independent, and and being able to buy what I want to buy when I want to buy it and do what I want to do is very important to my psyche. It's very
Mm-hmm.
important to the way that I think about myself and the powerful being that I know that I am. And so, I applaud you for looking at that and just saying, listen, yes, this is going to be a couple steps down. However, it is going to provide for me in ways that I need something to provide for me right in this moment. Doesn't mean that you'll be there forever. It doesn't mean that this is the end all and be all, but I need to be in that space. And I want to ask you this question because you reached out to HR. They obviously know who you are, right? The person that you spoke to obviously knows who
Mhm.
you are. What did that feel like in saying, "Hey, I need this role," knowing that that role is, below what you were doing before, and now you're talking to this person? Was there any type of hesitation or I'm going to use the word that you used earlier, feeling of shame in having to have this conversation and be like, "Hey, can you put me in this role? Or can you help me get
There there definitely was because, I had been at this organization, like, 13 years ago. So, it was almost like I'm taking a step backwards, I started out over here and now I'm back there. And I have a pretty good relationship with, actually my manager right now, and we talked through that. That the pay is lower than what you're requesting and this and that, and I know the organization, so we talked through that. And I thought about it. I took some time overnight and thought, what is it? What's my short goal? What's my long goal? And so it checked all the boxes. And so I said, I'm going to go ahead and make this move. So I changed my perspective on
Mhm.
being back here. So it's not like going backwards. I look at it. This is where I'm meant to be at this moment, right?
At
This
this
is
moment?
where, yep, that's where I'm supposed to be right now. And to your point, you said doesn't mean it's long term, all of that, but it's where I'm supposed to be right now.
Absolutely, and it serves its purpose,
Mhm.
right? Everything
Mhm.
serves its purpose, and we need to look at that. And so, as other women are going through this transition of having been laid off or terminated, and now moving into the next role. If you're going into a corporate space, if you're trying to go back into the corporate world and not into entrepreneurship, sometimes you may have to take a step back. And one of the things when I so I've mentioned this before, in October of 2019, I was terminated from my position as a law firm partner. And they told me that they could no longer afford to pay me. And right after that, one of the younger lawyers who was at the firm, she also got terminated. And so I brought her to my house at the time, my apartment at the time, and on the sliding glass door, I was like, okay, we're gonna map this out because we're gonna get you a new job. Like, we are going to map this out. And one of the things that I told her, I have this term that I call collabosourcing, and it means to leverage your expertise, resources, and relationships to build your business, your brand, and your badassery. And what I told her is that, listen, you're going to be looking for all of these different roles, right? In all these different law firms. And what I want you to think about is, what is the expertise, the resources, and the relationships that you need. So we had to map that out so that we understood. But that means that you have to know the vision long term. So
Mhm.
know what the vision is long term so that we can see, okay, what is it that I'll need to be able to achieve that vision, achieve that goal, and then work on
Okay.
what is my mission right now. And so her mission at that moment, just like you, the mission is, I got to get employed, right? I can't sit here. I have to be employed. And so what I told her, and so the thing that I will share is that I said, look at when you're interviewing with these places, don't think of it as being the end all and be all. It's not where you're going to be forever. But what expertise, what resources, what relationships, or what combination of the three can you get from that place that will get you closer to that vision, right?
Mhm.
And so that allows you to then go into those spaces and understand the purpose of that space, right? And so sometimes the purpose of that space may just be, right now, the resource that I need is money.
Mhm.
Right? And the
Mhm.
resources that I need to be able to buy groceries, and I need to be able to, keep the lights on or pay the mortgage. So that might be the purpose for that job. right?
Mhm.
It may be that, oh, if I get in this space, there's people there who, when I go further on, I can look back to your point when you were saying like building those relationships and you actually had somebody that you could call, right? So I just wanted to share that because I think that we sometimes don't want to go in these spaces because we take on, and I understand it, take on the idea that this is less than where I was, but it is for the purpose of today. As you said, like this is where I'm supposed to be today. And so looking at what can this place do for me in this moment and then moving forward. So thank you for sharing that and allowing me to
Mhm.
just add on that piece that I hope will be helpful for everyone. So now, Tanya, you are at this space, right? So we have our job and we're working, and that's awesome. Now, talk to me though. To my point, like, what is like long term vision for your life? I always talk about life, living, and legacy. What is long term vision for Tanya?
Oh, that's a good question, Kelly. And I am a work in progress. Right? My long-term vision, part of it, and I go back to where I'm supposed to be right now. As an HR generalist, I do a lot of consulting. That's consulting with leaders, consulting with employees, and that fills my bucket, right? It really it brings me joy,
Mhm.
just helping make a better place for where we all work. And I had someone said, and I don't know where I heard it from, but I carry it with me. Someone said, I like to leave people better after they've met with me or encountered me than they were before. And so looking ahead, HR is my just it's just my it brings me joy. I love it. I know some people like, oh my gosh, I can't. That's not me, but I love it. It brings me joy. I think I'm very good at that, especially the whole development piece and helping others. In turn, this has really helped me through navigating through like my grief process because it shifted the focus away from me. But now I have to be careful because shifting that focus away from me, I'm not focusing on me, right? And so I need to get back to that as well. So I go back to I am a work in progress. I don't know what the next steps are for me right now. And so we will see.
So you and I had a little chat before we came on here, and and what I want to bring you back to is something that you just said. I love these conversations because it gives me an opportunity to bring to your consciousness some of the things that you may not be paying attention to. And something that you
Mhm.
just said was, I'm a work in progress. I'm not really sure what's next. But we also talked about in the beginning, and you said one of the things that brought shame for you was the fact
Mhm.
that you had not prepared, that you were not prepared. And
Yes.
so we don't want to repeat, right? Or we don't want to
Mhm.
repeat that. We don't want to bring that on you because we know that no job is forever. And so I want you to start thinking about in this time and in this space, like what is next? And having being prepared so that if
Mhm.
this position goes by the wayside like the last one, that you don't get back into that cycle. And I think it would be even worse because you would say, oh, I wasn't prepared before, I wasn't prepared again. And so I just want you to listen in, um listen into the fact that you said that. And so if you had to prepare, so let's talk about it.
Mhm.
If you had to
Okay.
prepare, what are some of the things that you would want to be prepared for? What do you want to be prepared to be able to do? Say for instance, they called you again and said, hey, Zoom call. And again, what's next? Like, what do you want to accomplish for yourself and have in place? Because I think this will also help some people to be able to, deal with that if it happens, or if you decide that you're the one who wants to leave.
I really think it would be like laying that foundation so that I could pivot to, back to where I was, or maybe even beyond, right? So that talent space, the whole, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's working for an organization, but the whole talent management, talent development space. So when I say laying the foundation, like, do I have, like, am I up on my skills that I need to? Are there any certifications that I could get? Um, are there any connections that I should be making now just to stay in touch, right? And increasing my presence on LinkedIn. I think that's really important. Um, just, making comments, but comments that add value to others, making your own posts, right? So people see you and see who you are and what you're capable of. So there are a lot of gaps that I've discovered through this whole process that I need to start filling.
Yeah. And all of those things that you just said can be done at any time. You could set
Mhm.
aside 20 minutes, 30 minutes to just figure out what those things are. And when
Mhm.
you said being on LinkedIn, you're on LinkedIn, that your LinkedIn is a playground for you, right? Really
Mhm.
show up on there. You have a lot of experience in this talent
Mhm.
space. Start talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Start talking and giving people insight. If you find articles, share your point of view on that article. Really show up and start building your authority. One of the things I do when I work with women experts is really talk to them about how do you build your authority and your influence, because that's the
Mhm.
thing that's important. We don't want to be regurgitating everything, and you don't need to regurgitate because you know stuff, right?
Mhm.
I have two questions for you I want to ask you, but I'm gonna ask you one
Sure.
first, ask you the other. First, what has this experience taught you about you?
That I am capable. It taught me that I underestimate myself, right?
Mhm.
It really did. And that I bring a lot of value to the table. And I just didn't, not that I wasn't aware, I guess I didn't promote it. I didn't let others see it or communicate it more. It's just I need to do better at being my own marketer,
Yeah.
marketing agent. Yeah.
Yeah. We have to be our own advocates.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that now, because that was the second question. What are you exceptional at? What are you exceptional? If somebody was like, "Oh, who's this Tanya person? What is she doing? Would she be, how could she support me?" Like, what are you exceptional at?
I am exceptional at just building relationships and making those connections. I just didn't use them before, right? But I am very good and again helping others, but I am really good at that. That's my gift and um helping others see their gifts. Like I said, I am a relationship person and I focus on things that bring me joy and that does. And I think when you do things that bring you joy, you you become, or if you're not already, very good at it because you enjoy doing it. So it's like it's second nature to you. So uh, helping like organizations with culture shifts, culture changes. That's my jam.
And for so many people, building relationships is not an easy thing. And
Mm-hmm.
understanding how to do it and really to cultivate. So those are things that you could write about on LinkedIn. So you've been in HR, I was an employment lawyer. So in HR, we know that people don't love HR. They
Uh-huh.
just do not love HR professionals. And so maybe you can help your other HR professionals understand how to really build those types of trusting relationships between them and their employees, right? And really understanding how
Mm-hmm.
to shift culture if that culture is not one where people feel comfortable coming to speak to them or trusting, that they're going to do the right thing. I remember when I was practicing, one of the things that really came out is that employees did not trust that HR was doing the right thing by them. right? They
Mhm.
felt that HR was just about the company and didn't care about them, wasn't going to help them. And so, if you could help your other colleagues, that's something that you could raise your authority level and your influence level around in talking about building those types of relationships.
Well, Kelly, I just love this. Like, I feel like I have had a therapy session, a mentoring, coaching session, all in one.
I just love doing this. I love having these types of conversations. You never know what's going to come up. You never know what's going to surface. And when people are listening, people find themselves in it. And this is so important for people to understand that you're not alone. And whether you're in entrepreneurship, whether you're in the corporate space, whether you're thinking about transitioning, Tanya's story, I keep messing up her name, Tamara's story, and Michonne's story, right? And Allegra's story, everybody's stories give you something that maybe you can hold on to. Maybe you can say, oh, yes, I should be doing that. And, we talked about being prepared and not being prepared. We talked about knowing that it was coming and not knowing that it was coming. And how do you show up in those spaces? We've talked about going back into the corporate space or being like, no, you know what? I'm going to take all of my skills,
Mhm.
all the things that I've learned, and go into entrepreneurship. And so I know that you're in the corporate space and you're working to get back to, beyond the level, right? We're not trying to get back to where we were. We're working to get to beyond the level of where that is. So cast the vision so that you work towards that vision. It could be where you are now, it could be, someplace else, but cast for yourself that vision so it has been spoken into the atmosphere. What does
True,
that look
very
like? What does
significant.
what does what does the beyond living beyond your potential look like for you?
Uh, gosh, Kelly. Hmm. It that's a good question. Just I guess expanding my vision, right? And operating in that mode right now,
Yeah.
right? Of so claiming and operating in the mode where I want to be, and yeah, just do building those connections again to make that happen. I'm just you have me thinking. This is like thought provoking, right?
That's
Oh
good.
gosh, yeah, I love it. I love it.
And that's
It's
okay.
part
You don't
part of
know
it.
the
It's
whole
my
answer
homework.
now. Go
It's
ahead.
my homework.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I say your vision, I want you to think of the five senses, and I want you
Mhm.
to build the vision around the five senses. So even like, what does your life smell like? People are like,
Oh
that is really
boy.
weird, Kelly. What does my life smell like? But we know if you walk into Tiffany's or Louis versus if you walk into Food Lion or Walmart, it's a different smell.
Oh, I hear. Well, in that case, my life would smell like Symphony from Louis.
Woo,
The
see?
gardenias and peonies, I tell you.
Right?
Well,
So it's a fun exercise to really think about what does it feel like? What does it
mhm.
smell like? What does it sound like? Is it
I
chaotic?
love
Is it
that.
loud? Is it soothing? Like, what does life sound like? And just creating the vision, because then whatever you do, whatever you're asked to do, whatever you're thinking about doing, you can measure that against that vision. And if it's in alignment, great. If it's going to get me closer to that vision, great. If it's not going to, that's an easy way to say no, right? Thanks, but no. And so I want you to really think about that and just
I
dream
love
about it.
that.
Just think,
I
write things down as you see things, as you start to think about things. Because also, as you said, when you go out into now networking, now this is part of your networking with purpose, right?
I love that. Oh my gosh. And so that's going to be my homework to align my life with those senses because I love that so much. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. All
Hmm.
right. So let's talk about if there's somebody who says, hey, I love Tanya and I want to support her, I want to help her once she figures out that this vision is and gets it really crystal clear, I want to be a champion for her. What are the types of people, or what is the type of support that you need now, and how can people really lean in to Tanya's circle right now?
Oh, I would want to connect with them, right? Just have a quick chat, tea chat. I'm gonna drink coffee and tea chat. And because I that's how I navigate through life, right? Connecting with people and figure out, the common grounds that we have, the synergies that we have. Uh, I help them, they help me, that type of thing. So I just want to connect with people and see a lot of my best roles and my best relationships have developed organically, just from being in the same space as someone else, or having we I figure out, I have these commonalities with this person. So that's what I want to do.
Awesome. You're in South Florida?
Yes,
Okay.
West Palm Beach.
Where can people find you if they wanted to connect with you? Where's the best place for them to connect with you?
On LinkedIn, and at
Okay.
a pizza place. I'm a foodie. I'm a foodie.
Well, see, tell people that too. Like, I'm a foodie.
Yeah,
Like, we
yes,
can go
yes.
out. I heard you say
Uh-huh.
tea chat, not coffee chat. I'm a
Yes,
tea person.
yes.
I love tea. I drink tea almost
Mhm,
every day.
mhm. Yes, I'm
That's a
definitely
great
a
thing.
foodie.
Now, here's a question for you. So we have these 300,000 plus Black women out here in the world who have been forced out of the workplace. If you could speak to them, if you could have them all in a room with you and you could sit down with them, what is one thing that you would say to them?
I'm here for you. I love this village that you have created, Kelly. I think it's so needed. It's amazing. And I think we don't use our villages enough. We don't realize the power that this collective carries. And so I'm here for you. However, I can support you, whether it be just a listening ear, or I don't know, taking a audio call and we walk together, right? Virtually, that type of thing. Just know that this village that Kelly you have created is amazing, and it's so much power in numbers. And just remember that you're not alone, and you're not the only one that's going. Of course, as you know, 300. You're not the only one that's going through it. So.
Yeah. And there's light. There's light. And I
Hmm.
hope that's what you've
Hmm.
taken from Tanya's story, that there is light. It may not be shining as brightly as the one that you had before, but there is light. And we need to just lean into those spaces. We need to remember that we are brilliant, right? We are Black, beautiful, brilliant. And that the thing that they can never take from you, they can never take, is the wisdom, the education, the knowledge, the life experiences, the expertise. They can take the job all day long. They could take their job, their title, right? Their keys, their laptop,
Hmm.
the badge, but they can never take what is in your head. And so you get to decide going forward, how do I leverage that? Do I go back into another corporate space and make sure that I'm being very vigilant and watching and always being prepared? Do I go and step out into the corporate space and go make money from my mind? Do I do both? Tanya, you and I were having a conversation about, sometimes you can do both, right? When I was transitioning from being a full-time lawyer, so at the time that they were plotting to fire me, I was already plotting to leave. So I had one foot in and one foot out, right? And I was doing my business at night, after, trying cases and doing depositions and all the things. And so we have the ability. to be able to
Mhm.
do these things. One thing about us, and especially Black women, is that we are resilient, right? They
Mhm.
like to say that we're strong, but I believe that we are resilient, we are powerful, and we will make a way when there is no way. And so those are the things I hope that you've taken away from Tanya's story and from everybody's stories as you watch these series, and really listen for the nuggets, listen for the pieces of the things that can help you, even if you're still employed. Okay, Tanya said, I was not prepared. That resume was like real dusty with them cobwebs. Always be jotting down, what have I accomplished? What are the wins that I have? Keep your own records so that when the moment, and I will say when the moment, because no job is promised to you, when the moment comes, you are prepared. I remember, I'm going to share this with you all. I had a conversation while I was practicing law. I had a conversation with Tiffany Dufu. I had just reached out to her. She, at the time, she was running the crew, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to reach out to her. And I reached out to her, and I was sitting in a parking lot during the workday, sitting in a parking lot at a UPS store. And I had the conversation with her, and I was saying to her that I wanted to venture out into entrepreneurship. And she said, well, why don't you do it? And I said, because I said, this, the thing that scares me the most, there's not lots that scare me. The thing that scares me the most is being financially unstable. And what she said to me is, I said financial instability. And she said, Kelly, you are the most financially unstable right now in this job. Just having this one job with this one paycheck. She said, because when it's time for you to go and they are ready for you to go, they're going to let you go. And baby, if that didn't happen.
Hmm.
And I
Interesting.
had a plan, but my plan was 11 months beyond their plan.
Mhm.
And so I was too, Tanya, not fully prepared for that for that transition. And so it doesn't matter where you are. You know, I was practicing law for over 2 decades. I still wasn't prepared. I wasn't fully prepared. I had been building the other business, so thankfully that was. But in terms of like finances and all the things that I wanted to have in place before I said bye, we're not. So, take all of that from us as we, go through this journey of Black women rising, as, people, as these women share their stories and bare their souls to you, really take it seriously and start to understand, what can I be doing to make sure that I am protecting my mind, my body, my spirit, my finances, my home, my relationships. And, that's what I wanted to say to you. Tanya, anything you want to say before we go and I share with everybody how we can, really start doing some of this preparation? Anything else you want to share with them?
I just want to thank you, Kelly, for the opportunity. This was, like I said earlier, right? This was a therapy, a coaching, a mentoring session, but also an opportunity to connect with women like me who were in this stage of our life. And so, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for raising your hand, because all of y'all just trusted me. They're like, I don't know this woman. I don't know who she is, but she said, and I trust. I trust. I don't. And I want to. I laugh about that, but I want to. I really want to commend you all, because it takes a lot to say to a stranger, "Yes, I am going to allow you to ask me questions where I need to bare my soul about something that is very important and for some traumatic." So I have to say thank you to all of you for trusting that I do have your best interests at heart, that my goal is to make you look wonderful and powerful, and to really amplify you, and not to exploit your stories. And so I have to
Mhm.
say thank you from the bottom of my heart, that you all trusted that when I said please raise your hand, that you were definitely in good hands. And talking about good hands, listen, November 3rd through the 5th, come hang out with me. I am hosting Positioned for Profit. Positioned positioned, see, I'm sick, y'all. Positioned for Profit, say that fast 3 times, is a 3-day virtual intensive. So talking about, like, how do you get above all of the noise that's happening in the economy right now, whether you're in the corporate space, whether you're in entrepreneurship, one of the things that you have to be able to do is to powerfully and profitably position yourself. And so, positioned for profit is a space where you can come. It's virtual. You could be anywhere. You could be on the beach. 4 hours a day, November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Day one, we're going to be talking about mindset and positioning, getting you to understand who you are. What's the impact that you want to create? Who do you want to do that for? What are the problems that you want to solve? And leave that day with having a positioning statement that you can be proud of and that is really clear for everyone about who you are, what you want to do, right? How you want to make money. Again, whether it's as an entrepreneur, which you should be still having an entrepreneurial mindset in corporate. So whether in the corporate space or whether in the entrepreneurial space. So that's what we're going to do on day one. And we're going to talk about mindset. We have some featured women experts who are going to be coming on also and training you around different things around confidence and resilience and money, just all kind of stuff, y'all. Day two, we're going to talk about messaging. So, I was talking to Tanya about being on LinkedIn and sharing her expertise. So we're going to look at what is your area of expertise? What did we find out from day one around your positioning? And we're going to use that to develop content so that you can be posting content, so that you can elevate your authority and your influence. Again, whether you're in the corporate space or an entrepreneur, this is important. Imagine going into an interview and being able to tell them, that I've written these articles, I've posted, and, here are things that I know, and I have had these conversations with people, and this is what I know about what's happening out in the workforce and how we can make it better. You will be like head and shoulders above who's there. As an entrepreneur, understanding and being out here and being able to share from your point of view, not regurgitating other people's information. So we're going to help you with your messaging on day two. And day three, we're going to talk about money. We must talk about money, 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 because that's why, I know people are like, oh, money is the root of all evil. No, it's not. Money is freedom. Money is access. And so what we'll do on day three is build your revenue roadmap. So, if you want to make $100,000, $200,000 in corporate, or you want to make $500,000 in entrepreneurship, or you just want to make your next $10,000, whatever it is, we are going to build your revenue roadmap. So what I want you to understand is that position for profit is not an information session. You can Google information. It is not an information session. Yes, I will be there. I will be teaching. Other people will be teaching. Our sponsors, Go High Level and Verizon Business, they will be there. They will have people there teaching you too. But we are going to implement. So when you leave, you will leave with assets, things that you can do and leverage either in your corporate space or in your business. So all you got to do is go to positionedforprofit.com. And you know what? Over here on let's see, I'm gonna add it because StreamYard is fancy now, and it allows you to put up QR codes. So you can scan the QR code and go directly to the page. You can go to the page, and I will put the link in the comments. So it's positioned the number 4 and then profit.com. And what I want you to know is that in Monday prices are going up. So, and the price is crazy right now. It is absolutely nuts. And there's two options. There's 4 different pricing options, but there's 2 things I want to talk to you about. One is that there are these intensives I'll be doing from November through February. So you can get all the intensives. The other is that in March, we have our Speaking Industry Expo, which is an in-person event in Atlanta. And so there are bundles where you can get that at a really great rate. So just go check out the page, get in where you fit in, make sure that you show up for yourself, make sure that you invest in yourself. When Tanya talks about preparation, not being prepared, this is part of the preparation. And you see who I am. I don't play no games. I'm not going to give you fluff. We're going to do the work. And so jump in the room. It's virtual. Get your ticket. So I can see you November 3rd through 5th, and I can help you through this. Let's take control, right? The song in the beginning, she says, we are going to take control, right? We are going to take control. And this is a way for you to be able to do that at positionedforprofit.com. They should come, right, Tanya?
Yes, Definitely.
The people should be in the
FOMO.
right. The people should be in the place. Absolutely, you should be in the place. All right, y'all. We are not going to hold you anymore, but thank you again for joining us for another episode of Beyond the Layoff Black Women Rising. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have ahas or takeaways, drop them so that we can see them. Let Tanya know that you are here for her, that you're supporting her, and that you will be back on our next episode. And next week, we have another one coming up next week. Please share this. Please share this with 3 people, 5 people, 10 people. Just share it. Just repost it on your network, because many of us have thousands of people out there who are watching us. This is how we support each other. This is how we make sure that we are our sister's keeper. And so until next time, take care.
Bye, everybody.